All right, so this is our presentation then. So first of all, let me start a little bit with the history of Vectron, because the company is around since 1990, and it was founded by my partner, Mr. Reckendorf, and myself. Mr. Reckendorf has left the company last year, and I acquired his shares. But of course, he had a strong hand in the development of Vectron, being an ingenious developer, and he's still helping the company as a consultant. We started out as a software company, but quickly went into the POS cash register business, and we were able to build the company into one of the largest suppliers, or the largest supplier of cash register solutions for hospitality and also bakeries, and basically everything where you can get something to eat and drink. That's where we specialize. We do also have customers in supermarkets and other and hairdressers and things like that, but the majority of our customers is basically really hospitality in the broadest sense, where we have a market share of around 25%, which has just recently been tested again. So some companies went out and checked for the market share of Vectron, and they said it's even higher than the 25% we see here, which puts us in a relatively unique position, because there are about 200 companies in the German market competing for hospitality POS software. And so the Vectron is the only one that has a market share of this size. Everybody else, I think number 2 is something like 5%, and everybody else has 0.5% or something, which will be a very important fact later in the presentation. Basically, we are working with 3 brands. There's a main brand, Vectron. We have a cheaper brand, Duratec, and we also have another brand that's called Posmatic, which is an iPad-based app. So we cover all the bases in the market. But we are also a software provider, full-service provider, and we were also the first company to start combining POS systems with web-based services, cloud-based services, already a long time ago. What we are seeing is a big shift in the market. First of all, in the past, it used to be that cash register sales were just one-off affairs. People were just buying a combined system, hardware and software, one time, using it for, on average, 7 years, and then if you're lucky, they're buying another one from you. So that was the old business model. We are now seeing that it is changing, because on top of the POS system, on top of the cash register system, we see that customers are demanding digital services. Things like online ordering, online reservations, couponing solutions, and so on. This is what's needed today by restaurant owners, and this is all cloud-based, and these are all services that are paid on a monthly basis. So it's software as a service, basically. And these software as a services add-ons to the POS systems put us in a position where we can increase the lifetime value considerably. And I think this is already the most important thing in the whole presentation. Now we'll give you an example. When we were selling an average POS system, cash register system, with the old method, or basically that's still happening, we have an average profit of about 1,500 euros per installation. That's it. And then, as I said before, these things are used for 7 years. So if you divide the 1,500 by 7, is something like 214 euros. So that would be the yearly life cycle value. If customers now just opt for a payment solution or anything else, we can easily 5x or 10x this. So we will go into the details later, but that's the main thought. That means we can make 5 to 10 times the money per customer that we have with these digital services than we ever could with just the POS systems. And that's the game changer, and we can also see it in the numbers. So let's go right into it. We started already connecting cash registers to the web, to cloud-based services in 2011. The first product we had was our Bonvito system, which is a card-based loyalty solution for larger customers, because it doesn't make sense for one restaurant to give out customer cards. So this is for our chain customers, a lot of bakery chains and so on. It has been quite successful with these customers. We have 5,000 stores using it with 8 million active customer cards. which would make it the third largest loyalty system in the German market after Payback and Deutschlandcard. So what it does, if you have a customer card with one of our customers, you can collect points, you get coupons, you get special rebates. There's a reservation system built in. So this is already a nice digital solution for larger customers. But as I said, this was quite a heavy and big system. It only made sense for larger customers. And since in hospitality, only 5% of the customers are chain operators and 95% are single unit or 2-unit family operated businesses, it also means that this, of course, was not the end of the road, but this was a nice solution for the large customers, for the chains that we have, but we also needed solutions for all the small businesses that we have as customers, which are the main number of customers. So we started in 2019 to bring out digital solutions that would fit with small businesses too. So the first thing what we had was what we call the digital package, which includes a few basics like reporting, update contracts, and also data mirroring of the data in the cloud, so that every receipt that runs through these cash registers is sent to the cloud and stored there. And as you can see, we now have about 22,000 outlets connected, which is about half of our German customers. So that has been doing quite well for us. It has grown quite quickly. There were also other things that we introduced, like payments. So in 21, we also started to be our own payment provider, because in restaurants, everybody is accepting credit cards. And we said, okay, why should we not go into this business, also making money on the credit card payments? And our main point where we can push others out is by the deep integration of the payments into our POS systems, as you can see here in this picture, where we have a one-stop system, which is a mobile system that does the payments, but also the ordering at the table and everything else. So this is a full cash register, including payment solution that is mobile. So that has been quite successful. So we were able to acquire 3,000 outlets. I think we're growing at about 100 a month at the moment. So we want to increase this. And this is also a very, very nice revenue stream for us. Because if you look at this, from January to August, we grew our monthly revenues that we made out of these payments from 150,000 a month to 250,000 a month. It has gone down in September a little bit, but it's now back up to 250. So these numbers are not, of course, the latest, because this is not maybe not the freshest presentation, but gives you an idea. So this is growing quite rapidly, and this is basically the money that's left over after all the transaction. That's the money that we are earning, basically. So if you look at this with 3,000 customers, we are already making $250,000 a month. What if all our 45,000 customers in Germany would be doing this? This would be 15 times that. So payment alone has a very, very high volume of potential turnover for us. And this is just one of many modules that we are bringing to the market. These are just some examples that I will just mention here, because they are now all either released or in the test stage and will be shortly released. And these are digital add-ons to the POS systems that the market now demands. I will just give you a brief explanation of what it is. In-house ordering allows you to use a QR code at the table with your mobile phone and directly order from the table if there's no waiter around. This is something that's become popular in a lot of countries. It's now also becoming popular in Germany, especially with restaurants, because they don't have enough staff anymore. So customers can do things by themselves and order and pay at the table. We have a table reservation system, and we have a web shop where people can order pizza online and so on as an add-on to existing solutions they have. So these are all digital solutions that people are paying monthly fees for. This is not limited to this. We have at least another dozen or so digital modules that we're working on. And the idea is that the customers that have in the past just paid us 1,500 euros every 7 years are now paying 100, 150 every month. And if you multiply that with 7 years, it's very easy to find out that we can easily 10x the turnover and the profit with the same customers. The interesting point is that these are basically just computers running. We don't need a lot of extra people to do this. So this has been so far already very profitable for us, because you can already see this in the numbers. Because if you look at these two graphs here, you can see total turnover 2020, which is just 3 years ago. The gray part, which is 14%, or was just 14%, was the recurring revenues, digital revenues that we had in 2020. You can see for the first 9 months of this year, it has already grown to 48%. And also, let's say it was a big increase, not only percentage-wise, but also money-wise. And it continues to grow. And we have seen this growth over the quarters. So this is just the growth, quarterly recurring revenue. Let's say if you look at the Q1 in 22, that was beginning of last year. It grew from 1.9 to 3.5 a quarter, and it continues to grow as we speak. And if we look at the years in 2019, we started with only 3 million recurring revenues, which was only our Bonvito system. Then it went to next year 4.5, then 6.5, then 9.5, and this year will be something like, let's say, 12.5 or maybe 13. So it continues to grow, and that of course is very, very exciting, because this is turnover that stays, turnover that always comes back. It's very sticky. We can see that the churn is only with customers that go out of business for whatever reason, but usually not that go to other POS manufacturers. And therefore, we believe that we have just scratched the surface with the potential turnover that this provides. So there's a huge potential, and we believe that we can basically increase the turnover with our customers 5 times or 10 times potentially over the next few years. And this is where our large market share comes in. This is a general trend in hospitality. We are not the only ones doing this. Internationally and nationally, everybody is going in this direction. But since we have the largest customer share and we have the largest customer fleet, we will make the most money out of it. So this is very, very exciting for us. And as you can see, this is already happening. And if you look at the numbers that we already have, I mean, you have to imagine that these millions of turnover that we do per quarter, it's all 10, 20, 30 euros a month contracts. So it's already tens of thousands of contracts that have been closed with customers. So the marketing and the sales are already rolling, and we're now stepping up the game with even more modules and also higher value modules than before. So we are very excited about the growth. And I have mentioned the growth we had over the past years. Remember, this was the worst possible time for hospitality in the last 50 years with the pandemic and everything. And it still grew step by step by step because the demand is there. And I say also the iPhone came out in the world financial crisis in 2008, but it still didn't stop it, because there is a tectonic shift over to these digital services. And I would say the pandemic has even helped a little bit, because a lot of restaurant owners found out that they have to be on the internet. That this is where the action is. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs coming into the business. They are thinking completely different. And the good thing is also that they are also role models in other markets that we can see. What we've also done is accordingly, we have invested heavily in the software development, but we have let go of hardware development. So this is why we were able to also reduce our headcount and save some money. But let's say we finally made the decision to get out of hardware manufacturing. We now have the hardware made by external companies for us after our designs, but we will not do it anymore by ourselves. And we are concentrating on the software. So the positive effect is that we focus and that we also were able to save some money. This has also helped us to turn the numbers around. So you can see last year was a negative EBITDA at the first 9 months of minus 2.6. So this year it's positive 2.8. So the swing is more than 5 million. And I think that's already quite remarkable. And there's two things that helped us. First of all, of course, we saved some cost, but mostly the digital turnover has just grown month by month by month by month. And if it continues like this, you know, I wouldn't say that you can lean back, but it's really nice to see that in such bad surroundings, you have something that does so well. So we believe that this is just a general change that is now happening no matter what. So as I said, there's also role models to look after, because as always, the American market is far ahead from us. And if you look at a company, for example, like the first one, Toast is a good example. If you go to their website and download their latest quarterly report, there's a nice PowerPoint presentation that you can download. You will see what the potential is, because Toast does this on a grander scale. The company has been founded just in 2010, but they were able, with a similar offering that we have, that means a cash register plus integrated payment plus digital services, they were able to acquire about 30% of the American restaurant market. And they have around 95,000 restaurants as customers. We have about 65,000. So yes, they have more restaurants. And yes, American restaurants are larger and card payments are higher and so on. That's true. But just to give you an example, with these 95,000 restaurants, they are able to do around $1 billion in digital services or in digital turnover and SaaS turnover in a quarter. So I wouldn't say that we get quite to the same numbers, but if we get just a fraction of that, it means our numbers will explode. And I think we can just follow their playbook and do the same thing with our customer base here. And it will get us, I believe, to similar results. Maybe not as big, because in America, always things are bigger. But basically, if you look at a success model from America and copy it here, that's usually the right way to go. And there's these companies, and if you look at their websites, look at their offerings, you will see that they're basically doing the same things that we are now doing on a grander scale. Fortunately for us, the German market is always a little bit slow. German people are a little bit reluctant with new things, so we are always 5 years behind. So we are right on time to ride the wave that's now going through the German market. There's one other big thing that we have done this year, and that has been the acquisition of Arcado. And I will just go through this very quickly to give you an idea why have we bought this company. So who is Arcado? Arcado is I would say, is a couponing champion in Germany. They operate about 50% of all supermarket coupons in Germany for large supermarkets. So in the upper right corner here, you can see the retailers they work with, like Edeka, Real, Rewe, Kaufland, and so on. And basically, the other customer group that they have is all these manufacturers here that manufacture the consumer goods. And what Arcado has done is that they have integrated over the last 20 years their software into the cash register systems of all these supermarkets, cinemas, and also pharmacies. And if somebody here like Coca-Cola wants to run a couponing campaign, they can go to Arcado, and Arcado can make sure that the coupon works in all of these stores. So they don't have to do this with all of these stores. And Arcado also does the financial clearing, because if Coca-Cola gives out a coupon, the consumer uses the coupon in the store to get a rebate. But of course, the retailer wants to get the rebate back from Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola pays the money to Arcado, and Arcado pays the money back to the retailer. So they do the clearing, of course, plus a few percent for their services. So that's the business model. And that opens up couponing in supermarkets, in pharmacies, in cinemas for the consumer goods industry. And there is one other company that has the other 50% of the market, so to speak. So it's a duopoly, if you want. And also, if you look at the in-house apps that companies like Edeka, for example, are running, all the coupons in those apps come from the Arcado system. So yeah, they are quite a substantial player in retail. And they have been doing this since 2000, when coupons started out on paper. Of course, over the years, it went to the web, it went to apps, it went to nowadays social media influencers and so on. So everywhere these coupons are used, and they have been a pioneer in doing this and have been growing over the past few years. One other thing that they are doing is what you can see here is checkout couponing, which means that they print coupons on a receipt. If you go to a supermarket, you will very often see this, and if it is an intelligent system, which means Coca-Cola can book a campaign where if somebody buys Pepsi, they get a Coca-Cola voucher, for example, they get a coupon. Or if a young mother buys baby milk, they get a Pampers voucher, things like that. So it's an intelligent system that allows very intelligent advertising. And therefore, it is a very, very interesting theme. And of course, nowadays, as you can see here, a lot of these coupons are distributed through social media, because there may be a social media influencer that recommends a L'Oreal shampoo or whatever. And then you can combine this with a coupon. If the customer downloads the coupon through the Arcado system, they can find the store, they can redeem the coupon, and it's automatically then cleared through the Arcado system. So they offer the full experience. And these are the examples of some of the campaigns that they have been doing for the supermarket chains. Nowadays, also these paper leaflets are moved into the apps. Rewe has stopped using paper completely. So this is also something that is helping the Arcado business. They have been also doing these Krombacher things, which has been widely advertised on television last year. I think it will be done again next year. And what has been very interesting for us is that they also run end customer apps, their own end customer apps. And one of them is called Couponplatz. And this is basically an app where you can find all the coupons from all the supermarkets and all the consumer goods manufacturers that work with Arcado in one app. So you don't have to look through 5 different apps. And it also gives you a map. And we will also want to put hospitality customers into that map, because we also think that couponing will be quite big in hospitality. We have run tests 2 years ago, and it was very, very successful. We did that test with Google at the time, and we believe that there's basically 2 ways to make money off of this. One is coupons that the restaurant owners create themselves to get customers on board. So let's say they have a happy hour, or they have whatever, pizza 20% off or something. But there's also especially the beverage industry that is interested in running couponing campaigns in hospitality. For example, like a Coca-Cola or so on, they want to run coupon campaigns where people can use the coupon, not only in the supermarket, but also in a restaurant, because this is where Coca-Cola makes about 3 or 4 times more money per bottle of Coca-Cola than they do in a supermarket. This is where we see a very big synergy between the 2 of us, because Arcado is already running these campaigns for those companies in supermarkets. So we believe in the future they will be able to run these campaigns with the same companies through hospitality, which will mean that our POS customers will be part of these large advertising campaigns without having to pay something for it. And that, of course, will be very, very, very attractive, and we'll be able to make a little bit of money on the transactions. So we also think that we can then add a few extra features, not only the couponing, but also if you have a coupon for a pizza, 20% off, why not directly order the pizza or get a table reservation? So we'll also integrate that, which will lead us to be a hospitality app, basically, and also a rebate and couponing app in all in one combined. And the reasoning behind this is very simple. This is from one of our internal strategy meetings, but it has been the most eye-opening graphic, because what you see here basically is the digital ecosystem in a restaurant, and the core, the inner ring, is the POS system, because the cash register has always been a computer for the last 40 years. So that has always been the digital system, the core digital system that does all the transactions. What's now happening, and what we have discussed, is this ring around it, the second ring, which is local payments, my own coupons. I have whatever, a web shop connected to my website, things like that. These are the local digital services. And then there's another layer around it, which is platforms, things like OpenTable, Lieferando, but also Google advertising and things like that. And the interesting thing is that if you jump from ring to ring, every time you go from the inner ring to the middle ring, the turnover is 10 times higher. You go from the middle ring to the outer ring, is another, it grows another 10 times. And we have discussed the examples before where you can see that we can easily make 10 times the money with these local services that we made on just the POS system. But I also have a lot of customers that are paying 4,000 or 5,000 a month to companies like Lieferando. Then imagine that over 7 years, how much money this is, even more than 10xing it again. And this is from the same customer. So the idea is if we can vertically integrate everything in one solution, let's say we can totally uncork this bottle and increase our turnover per customer almost to infinity. And this is why we will also go after having our own super app. And this is also why we need Arcado, which is a very, very nice and profitable business by itself. But the crossover marketing effect of crossover campaigns for coupons, for drinks, and whatever, Coca-Cola, Red Bull, Lavazza, whatever is sold in hospitality is also sold in supermarket and vice versa. And this will be a unique position also to help these companies with marketing. So that's basically the gist of the story. So if there's any time left for questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Yes, excellent presentation as always. We have 4 minutes left for questions. Currently, there's one in the chat. So wasn't there a cooperation with Metro AG in the past? And currently Metro is developing their own system with a question mark. What's your stance on that?
Well, you are right. We were in a cooperation with Metro a few years ago, but then Metro got into troubles with their new big investor, and they decided to stop all the digital services. Now they have restarted it, and they are going to the market. They also have their own POS system, yes. But I mean, as I said, there's 200 companies in the market, and customers are only buying every 7 years or so. So we believe that it is another player. You have to take them seriously, but it's nothing that keeps me up at night.
Okay. And how is the organization approaching its merchant acquisition strategy for the future growth development?
Well, at the moment, we first have to make sure that we integrate Arcado correctly. And I've also said we also want to keep some cash on the side for whatever reasons. So, at the moment, there are no direct plans for us buying something, because we first want to digest this. On the other hand, what we can now see is there's lots and lots of very interesting startups in hospitality that are now having problems getting more financing. And basically, a lot of them are, of course, coming to us and knocking at our door because they see that we're in the same market and might be interested. So there may be opportunities with smaller companies, very interesting technology. But as I said, this is it's not the main focus. The main focus at the moment is to grow our customers organically with these digital services, and Arcado will help us with this. But our growth focus is organic with these digital services, and we think that this growth can already be seen, and it's not just a buy and build strategy.
And you talked about Toast, a big player in the US market. Is there a risk that they move to Europe or Germany?
Of course, there's always a risk. And of course, we expect that. And this is why we also have to make sure that we have all these things ready and rolling before they arrive. Because if they go to the market and have something new and compelling that the existing companies like Vectron don't have, then of course we will have a problem. If we are able to develop our complete offering before that happens, much harder to kick us out. So yes, I think they will come to Europe, but I would say, as usually, I would expect them to go to the UK first, because that's what American companies usually do, that they go start with the UK market. But it's a possibility, yes. And I think that Vectron is the only company in the German market that is ready for this, or that is even seeing this as a problem.
Okay. Looking at the time, we have just a couple of seconds left. So thank you very much.
Thank you.